Identify and book the world's best speakers for your next event. MENA Speakers is the leading speakers and MC bureau in the Middle East. We bring global talent to the region and have established the region as a key global hub for speakers. Inspire and motivate your audience. Find exactly what you are looking for by working closely with us to assist you in understanding the cost-benefit analysis tied to selecting a speaker for any event. Ensure that your audience is educated, engaged, and empowered. Connect with us for a quick response and tailored advice. Book your speakers now.
Do you have an all-star HR team? You may feel your team is already performing at a high level, but let's take a closer look. Would your company's top leaders and employees agree that your HR team are operating at a high level? Are team members able to influence top executives on difficult topics? Are team members' business and strategy focused on the challenges the organization is facing? Does the executive team trust your direct reports as advisors on human capital issues? If you can answer yes to these questions, you have built an outstanding team. If you feel there is room for improvement, Strategy Focused Group can create a custom development program to elevate the quality of your HR team. We use HCI certification programs as well as non-certified HRBP MBA Masterclass to give your team a laser focus on the business and strategy. Please email us at info@strategyfocusedgroup.com.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to start off by apologizing to all the listeners that we had some technical difficulties. And, you know, if you're post-COVID, it's kind of a technology kind of drives everything. So this is why we're coming a little late today, but we have an interesting topic and such an interesting guest. So my normal start is good morning, good evening, depending upon what part of the world you're in. If it's Friday, you know it's a CEO series where we bring together global leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators, disruptors, and interesting people to talk about an array of topics. Our guest today is Lamiya Korchiyeva. She currently works as public affairs section in the U.S. Embassy as the Alumni Outreach Program Coordinator. She is a Global Undergraduate Exchange Program graduate funded by the U.S. Department of State. She has volunteered in youth organizations, worked in the education field, managed dozens of youth development projects and women empowerment projects for several years. She is a recipient of multiple scholarships and was invited a few years back as a speaker at a Harvard conference. Aside from her professional background, she is a professional dancer, yoga instructor, martial arts practitioner, and mom of a 3-year-old boy. Hey, Lamiya, how are you?
The last part was the best one. Hi, everyone.
I know.
Hi, Ron.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting. Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to be here tonight and share my experience.
And I'm glad to have you here because I was telling you earlier before we went online, I knew you as you've grown up, and we met years ago. And one of the stories I was just sharing was that when I was in New York maybe 5-6 years ago, and I was during the time that you were there, and you met me at the bus station, and I was getting the shuttle to the airport to go back to Dubai, and we sat there, talked on the street for the longest. So this is my first time seeing you physically since that time. So thank you for being a guest.
That's exactly right. Thank you for inviting. Thanks for having me.
So let's start. Sorry of the overlap. So let's start off by talking about your work as heading up the Alumni Outreach Program at the U.S. Embassy in Baku.
Mm-hmm. So I recently joined actually the U.S. Embassy in Baku almost a year ago. I joined the public affairs section, and currently I work as alumni coordinator, which is dream come true because I'm also a U.S. Department funded program alum. And this is a great honor for me to get into the job and see it from another side, how people work hard enough to produce such a great outreach programs, exchange programs, education programs for the society, for Azerbaijani people. It's just incredible.
So you do a lot of outreach in the programs you design, and I want to say this because you had me on as a guest maybe 3 months ago,
Yes.
as a speaker, as a part of that. So why is that important for you reaching out back out into the community? So give us that angle.
Well, from my own perspective, if I could say so, so we send Azerbaijani undergrads, grad students, and professionals to exchange programs to the United States, and they travel there, they get inspired, they learn a lot, and once they come back to their home countries, they really want to pay it forward. And
Yeah.
sometimes they feel lost, not knowing what are their next steps, where should they go, how should they, make their goals and dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
Our main job, well, my main job is to make sure that they have us connected. They know how to get back to us, to the embassy, and know that we are always supporting them and will continue always supporting them with various funding opportunities for social projects, with various social events. We organize for them annually, and they always have someone to go back to, and with their ideas and expertise, and contribute back to the community also by actually being speakers and professionals and experts in certain fields that they might share experience with the local ones. So this is a great opportunity for them to share, for them to learn, and for them to invest back to the society.
Yeah. So you mentioned a concept, which is a great concept, which is being talked about a lot today. How do we pay it forward?
Yeah.
So they have an opportunity that probably a lot of people in the country does not have, and they get a chance to come to New York and hang out, do great things, and they get inspired. So when they come back, would you say your role is to try to capture some of these ideas and see what we can do to affect on the other side?
Yes, exactly. We have open competitions where all alumni are eligible to apply, and we select best proposals, and they could do different projects to affect, for example, women in rural areas who are lacking in education, or affect youth groups in various like in high schools and or in universities that are lacking knowledge or experience in something. They did so many beautiful projects through these years that are really impressing, and they keep doing that, and we are trying to motivate them to do so.
Wow. Well, I love the way that you're capturing that. So they have experienced something that probably the vast majority of people in Baku, Azerbaijan, have never experienced. So they're coming back and saying, I want to help the person in this village or
Yes.
this group of people, in doing that. So, and then your goal is to kind of capture that and turn it into a program. So some Jim just mentioned here, she definitely pays it forward. As a student at Bethany College here in Lindisborg, she was a natural leader. Whoa, vote of confidence.
That's my professor and best friend, Jim Turner.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's
amazing.
yeah, that's so cool. Well, having that impact, and I'm sure, so you went through the same program, and when you came back, how did you turn that into your role now as a coordinator in setting that up? How did you make that transition?
Well, I usually try to say lead by example. For example, when I was on the program, I had all these activities that I wanted to do within the program and even beyond, and contribute to the community I lived in. And that particular community was really small. It was really small city, Lindsborg in Kansas. Amazing people, so friendly, so hospitable, and they were so curious to know about my country, my culture, who I am, what I do, and I was organizing different cultural events, participating different cultural events, and sharing Azerbaijani food with everyone, and like organizing the movie night about Azerbaijan. So it was like various activities. Then I joined the International Students Club and we did the Global Village kind of event where all the national students could share their country's cultures. It was it taught me so much. Then before I came back to Azerbaijan as participant of the program, I already had sketches of ideas, that the project sketches in my mind that I want to do when I can come back. And once I did, I instantly started writing different drafts of the proposals and thinking, how can I implement this? Like, how do I get to that community? And some of the social projects I did totally without funding or anything. It was only based on my enthusiasm, on the connections that we were talking about just before. And I was connecting friends I worked with in the youth organization, for example, connecting to this project idea. I knew their strengths in certain fields, so I was connecting them, and we were implementing those projects together, which was amazing. And now that I'm in the embassy, and I try to inspire all our finalists who are going to study in the United States and those who just recently returned to join the alumni community and be active as much as you can.
I love the concept of it's kind of like VC venture capital funding. So everybody has a chance to pitch. You pitch your idea, and doing that competition phase. I think that's so cool in being able to do that. So how long has that been in existence? People come back, they put together a proposal, they come and pitch. How long has that been around? And can you talk through some success stories as to what may have happened as a result of some of those people that were chosen?
Yeah, sure. It's been around for a very, very long time. From the beginning, because alumni were and are always important to the embassy, and we alumni are the ambassadors of the United States in Azerbaijan, and we are ambassadors of Azerbaijan in the United States. So all of the alumni in the community is huge, and there are a lot of success stories. For example, one of the projects that there were English language program projects that were implemented by our alumni towards helping IDPs and teaching them English skills, helping them improve their other soft skills. And then there were entrepreneurial programs that were implemented by our alumni towards young ladies in the communities who were lacking self-confidence, who were lacking soft skills, and who were lacking the idea that they can achieve, that they can do it. Because in our society, it's a little bit under question. It used to be before under question whether women can do something more than just being a wife or something like that. It's not like this anymore, thankfully. Thankfully to all those projects, and society is changing. So it's really wonderful to see how girls can achieve their dreams. So there was long-term 3 editions of the women empowerment programs. They got really nice alums who also some of them created their own businesses, some of them coaches, some of them created social businesses. It's amazing to observe.
Women empowerment. I'm a big proponent of women empowerment, and I was working on a project that was supposed to come alive in Saudi Arabia. We're kind of still going through the process, and because of the concept you talked about, women were not seen as leaders and maybe just the family only, and now it's opening up. And I know the Middle East is real big on that, and a lot of other societies are big on that, because in a lot of cases women have been suppressed. But all that talent is just sitting there, And I always applaud companies that are organizations or governments that saying, let's empower our women to move forward, because it's kind of like having all of that talent sitting there and you're not using it. You've never tapped into that. And the leadership skills that they would bring, their insights is totally different from a man's insight.
Definitely. I believe that women have incredible power within that, and potential, especially potential to implement not only projects, but achieve many things in their lives.
Yes. The thought process is different. I never forget a project I did in Saudi Arabia a while ago, years ago. And you do breakout groups, and then each group would come back and present.
Mm-hmm.
And the men presented and the women presented. It was like eye-opening, because the things they talked about, nobody had ever even had that discussion. But everything they did made sense. So my way of closing that out, I said, this is the future of your country. This is the future leaders of your country. And all of this talent is just sitting there. And we have to figure out a way from the other side to tap into this.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So paying it forward, we're moving forward. So we have these people coming back to do this. So over a period of years, would you say, if you had to grade that program, has it been successful beyond your wildest dreams? And we making impact inside of Azerbaijan?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a huge impact. Sorry, there was a break in the connection.
That's okay. Technology, as I said, right?
Technology, right? It gives us the tricks. There is a huge impact, because then we see the success stories of the participants of those programs that later come back and share their stories, saying that, oh, thankfully to this program, we learned A, B, C, D, and then other people, corporate people saw us and heard us, saw the idea, and then supported us further. It's also about the sustainability, because they participate in the program, then they create their own projects, which is really cool. And then it's just, I don't know, for me it's like something magical is happening.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. So, one of the other key components of any program that you do is the enthusiasm, as we talk about why we need to do this and connecting with people. And I think, and I will applaud the embassy for bringing a graduate who has gone through the program and has experienced this and experienced culture shock in leaving Azerbaijan to go to US, and then a reverse cultural shock when you leave New York to go back to Azerbaijan. And
New York or any other state. New York or any other state, for sure.
Yes.
Because I remember when I received this letter that I was assigned to study in Kansas.
Yes.
Before receiving that email, I was like, I'm definitely, if I have a choice, I'm definitely going either to New York or California or elsewhere.
The coastal side.
That was the only, direction I saw. I was like super young back then and watched a lot of Hollywood movies. So I'm like, definitely here or there, nowhere else. But then I realized that there will not be choice provided. I will be assigned.
Yes.
So I was assigned to study in Kansas, and I think it was the best experience, life-changing experience that I had in my life. It was, I got to know not only the American culture, but also Swedish culture, because it was established, this small town was established by the Swedish community in the States, and they are super sweet and so welcoming. And I've learned a lot from each one of them that I met, and I had amazing internship opportunity and amazing boss, so to speak, back then, who taught me a lot. And I served, I did community service, which was really, I don't know, so inspiring and enlightening. And I instantly, before going to United States, actually, I've done volunteering in the international, and that use and share my tell to students and even school kids that you guys need to work on your actual experience that you can reflect on later when you apply somewhere, either that will be a job or university or anything else. Involved everywhere, everywhere basically.
Okay, so we got a little lag on the feed. You're freezing a little bit, but that's cool. I mean, the thought and the concept is still coming through. So let's talk about work beyond the program and graduates coming back and finding jobs in the private sector. Are there any programs aligned around capturing all that new talent coming back in and bringing them into, the commercial side? It could be from banking, could be from retail, construction, whatever it is. What kind of programs are you having to capture that? So they still want to pay it forward, but the real part of work and organizations connected on the other side, looking inside to see, okay, let me bring some of these people over. What does that look like? Okay, we had a small problem again with technology, and she's going to log back in just a second. But anyway, the concept of what we're talking about is a young lady, tremendous talent, who was able to leave Baku, Azerbaijan, and come to U.S. as a part of a program. And she was there for a period of time. She wanted New York, one of the major cities, and she ended up going to Kansas. And as a result of that, it was a different context, totally different context of what she expected. But she said before we, had the era, that it was eye-opening because she saw a part of America that she had not seen from the so-called coastal side in doing that. And what she's coming back in now.
Are we back?
We're back now. Yeah. So folks, technology, and you've dealt with it before. So, so the question
Are
I
we
had,
back?
yeah, we're back. We're back.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I lost you on the last question. It was like really crunchy.
Yeah, it was every other word kind of thing. So let me just walk you through that. So I'm thinking talent goes away, talent comes back, pool of talent. So they're going to pay it forward. But what about the world of work? How are you connecting organizations into all this talent, to some kind of internship or programs to get embedded back inside of the so-called real work?
Well, I can say only one thing about that is that the part that they went to the program, U.S. Department funded program, and came back gives them a great background. And once they apply somewhere and they have it in their background, especially our graduate students for our graduate programs, it's really great for them because people recognize those programs in corporate sector. They know instantly what this person went through, at least a little bit, and so they know who they want to hire. But this is not our job to connect our alumni with the corporate sector. That's we do that.
Okay. But the corporate side realizes that these people are talented people, in doing that. So so that's cool in doing that. So what's the normal progression? So I go away and I do this internship or come to the US and do this. So when I come back, I'm kind of on my own to say, okay, now I've got to start. So I've got the degree, I've done this piece. So now I've got to find work, the real work to make sure everything. So how does that look? Is there any guidance as it relates to that? How to do an interview or job skills or whatever?
See, like there is a alumni association, U.S. Educated Alumni Association, which is a separate organization. It's NGO. That consists of the alumni who went to study in the U.S. and came back. So they organize this kind of social events for alumni. and invite them to to share their experience, invite experienced alumni in certain fields to contribute with their knowledge to other alumni, or they organize job fairs, or
Okay.
they can do and connect with corporate sector. We So they do that for alumni, and this works. That's really great opportunity. That's why when before our finalists go to the program, we tell them that, hey guys, there is an alumni association that when you come back, you can go to them and apply for the membership, and they accept you, and then instantly you get so many opportunities around, because like we have more than 6,000 alumni throughout
Really?
the yeah. But like within long period of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Not all of them are active, and
Okay.
not all of them are in Azerbaijan anymore. And but part of them, they are really engaging into the community's activities, and they are eager to contribute with their knowledge or time, or create great projects,
Mm.
implement together as alumni teams, or involve someone else to implement those projects. So it's a great chance.
Yeah, well, from understanding how your program works, I knew someone in Dubai, and they left and went back to their country, and they basically put together the same kind of project, and it had never been done before. It was kind of an incubator, so you're taking people that have gone to various areas and have come back and created that program. So the one side, they had that pool of people. The other side was the business community in doing that, but they kind of brought everyone together. So you're talking about the outreach programs and the competition and all those kinds of things, that they can exhibit their talent. If you look at the program you're working now, what would you think in your capacity would possibly be a next step? I mean, so this is working. How can we extend this further inside of Azerbaijan? You talked about the projects you're working on, all of that. Any thought to next? What's next?
What's next beyond the working with alumni?
Yes.
Well, there is always something that you can do, and always a lot to learn. So I'm still learning, and my goal is to make sure that we reactivate as much alumni as we can,
Mm.
and make sure that they are connected not only with each other but with us, and they know what opportunities they could get from us. So
Mm.
for now, this is this, but for future, we don't know what future holds, so
Okay.
let's leave it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, but so it's still percolating as to what could be done as kind of a next step. And the reason I'm thinking is because they go away, they come back, they're excited, they get into the competition, they do things. So how do you capture that, and how do you keep reigniting that passion? Because a period of time they get to work and have families and kids, and maybe the interest dies down a little bit.
Yeah, and that's normal thing. That's
Yeah.
totally normal thing. All of them have their own lives
Yeah.
and work and
Yes.
responsibilities, which is great. But I noticed that they are so eager to hear back from us, and come and join events, join activities, share their knowledge. And it's great to see, it's great to observe, because we're really grateful for them. Like for example, when I came back from the States and became alum of the program, I was participating, well, not only creating my own social projects and implementing them, but I was also participating in alumni events where we had alumni speaker who was sharing certain knowledge in certain field,
Mm.
and it was really inspiring. And this was always new, always something to learn, and something to exchange with one another.
Mm. So for someone that was selected to go to this program, what advice would you give them? Because you've done it, you've come back, and now you're involved in sending a group there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you made a complete loop. So what advice would you give these young people?
Well, main thing is to be curious
Okay.
first, and seek for the opportunities to enrich your background, and not only apply to the program and expect that you will be selected, because it's super competitive. You need to be different from others in order to be selected, different in the way of having really colorful background in like you invested into society, you did great projects, you volunteered, you have great soft skills, I don't know, like there are many aspects. Cannot be packaged all in one, of course, when you're a grad student. But at least you need to be curious, you need to be persistent, and you need to be flexible.
Okay. I see Jim made another comment here. He said another photography event in Baku would be great. Photography.
Yeah, as we used to have this program for our alums. It was a program when you apply with a project idea and bring either your supervisor from the United States, from your college, or your professor to your home country and conduct variety of activities, like educational activities. So I brought Jim Turner to Azerbaijan through that program. That was also a very competitive program, and it was amazing experience having Jim here and then having him back so for the second time with his beautiful wife, and visiting Azerbaijani regions and traveling.
Oh, wow. Here's another one coming here from Siva. She says, "I'm so proud of you, my girl." So all of your fan club is coming in and making comments. That's so cool. See, I always say that's a testament to your work when people can come in, take the time to tune in to listen, even though we had the technical difficulties, to come in and say, this is cool. Here's another one that's coming in here from Nargis, Lamiya. Yeah, so she gave you, so she gave you the thumbs up, of that. So it's kind of coming back, like you've paid it forward. And now you're reaping some of the accolades, benefits of, not that I'm saying that you're doing this because of that, but because of not being selfish, all of this comes back to you, in a positive light.
Yeah, I actually, before I went to the program, I always loved watching what U.S. Embassy does for the society and like for the communities. And I've known several alumni before I went to the program, and they were sharing their U.S. experiences, and that because U.S. was my dream since my childhood.
Oh, really?
When I was hearing those stories, I was like, oh, wow, I gotta do that. I definitely gotta do that. I gotta get there. So once I did, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And I would never ever imagine that I will end up working for the place I was so inspired with. So.
Well, see, this is what I said earlier, because you applied, you were accepted, and you left, and you went and you experienced that. You came back, never giving a thought to maybe one day you will be a part of that program through the embassy, of looking at other people coming through. So this is why one of the things I've always said, when you're looking for people, if they have already gone through that experience, they have different ideas than somebody. If you would have just hired someone who worked in corporate and put it in to run a program, if they had never experienced the thoughts of the confidence level of doing all these kind of things, the value that you could bring because you've gone through it is a lot higher than hiring someone, say like me, from an organization. Would you say that? Would you agree to that?
Well, you definitely have to have some social experience, like working on social projects, I guess. That's my view on this, because volunteering in youth organization, in international youth organization, then afterwards having an opportunity to work and do the projects in women empowerment platform, to see women's issues and all that. It kind of gives you another perspective, totally different perspective, and it kind of widens the angle. Your viewpoint definitely changes, and things that I've experienced professionally and personally in the States. And then later on in the corporate field, the only corporate experience, international corporate experience that I have, you and I know, it was amazing, and I'm so grateful.
That's when we met at P World.
New things about other countries, giving me this opportunity, and just, I don't know. I feel it's not only about luck. I believe it's about persistence, as I said, and knowing what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And then doors will start opening up. Slowly, fast, maybe slow. So
yeah. So let's take a quick break and then we'll come right back. Because
sure.
a couple of questions I want to ask. So we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back in just a minute.
Awesome.
Email us at info@strategyfocusedgroup.com.
Okay, we're back. I got a few more questions that I wanted to ask before we, begin the process of closing out. Since you're working on, dealing with a lot of college students, what do you see as the major concerns of young people heading out for work after university? So they've gone through, they've got degrees, they've done programs, and now the real life of work comes into place. What are you seeing some major concerns from younger people coming into the so-called workforce? Okay, I think we are frozen again.
I think I lost you for a second.
Okay.
And
Okay,
we're
cool.
back.
So we're back. Yeah, so what are you finding is the major concerns of young people that have gone through university programs or whatever it is, and now it's time to go to work and going into organizations? What are you seeing? Are you seeing anything as concerns they may have as a younger worker?
Well, if I understood the question correctly, I think nowadays, if students, like undergrad students, are very fresh and they've never been to international exchange programs or volunteered in any international or local youth organization or any platform, I think they only have, the problem is that they get out of the university with certain of the theory, and they have no idea how to put it into practice. And then they expect that corporate sector or any sector would want to hire right away and pay high salary to the graduate student just because he has a great GPA or any other qualities, right? I don't know how it is in the US, but what I observed here, but not, of course, it's not 100% related to everyone. What I've noticed is kind of trend. You get out of the university and you're like, okay, cool, everybody. Actually, I thought so when I came back from the States, and I would want to hire me and stuff, even though I had this experience and previous experience in youth organization, other qualities. I came back and it was what spring/summer season when I came back, and I started applying to jobs and stuff. And
Okay. Okay, folks, if you're dealing with the Zooms, the Teams, and StreamYards and whatever it is, you know the deal is these kind of things happen. So we'll try to get her back, and she's going to log back in, and we'll try and continue. She's coming back now. Yeah.
I think I'm back.
Yeah, so we're back. Yeah. So give us the back end of that, because we heard like every other word of that. So that, and the question I asked is that, the workforce is changing. What is the concerns of younger people? Because one of the things you mentioned was that, because I have a degree, and because I have a GPA of X amount, all of a sudden you're supposed to welcome me with open arms, and here's the contract or whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure. I would, well, one problem is that they want to get out of the university and get a job right away, not thinking about having at least an internship, having at least a volunteering experience. They haven't had it before. And then another side is that corporate people usually always want to hire someone with experience, but the person is starting, where else he can start if not at least an internship, just to give an opportunity. So it's like both sides of the medal. On one side, the expectation of graduates are high, that they want everything in very high amount. That's gonna happen instantly. I'm just gonna graduate because I'm gonna graduate and get a job because I'm good enough. But it doesn't work this way. You have to work hard and put more effort and enrich your knowledge, I believe, and enrich your experience, because after that you can reflect. Whatever experience you have, you can always reflect on it and show how you can solve problems, because that's what employers are interested in. Finding people who can solve problems. You can even not have an education, but you have to.
You know what? You have no idea how happy I am to hear you say that, because it's not about the degree, it's not about the GPA. Someone sent me a note the other day, and he took the first 3 sentences to talk about he's a PhD in human resources. And I'm thinking, who has a PhD in human resources? And he's going through this, his GPA was this, and all these kind of things. And I said, you know what? Don't lead with that again. Lead with how you can provide solutions. Lead with maybe some research you've done or some insights that you've accumulated as a result of that. But leading with degree and GPAs and all of that, if I'm looking to hire someone, so I'm assuming because you got a 3.9 out of 4, you're going to be able to come in and do the work. It doesn't translate that way.
It doesn't.
It doesn't translate that way because you went to a top school. Talk to me about some solutions you provided inside of organization. I got a whole host of problems here, and I'm not looking to hire people who's going to come in and start making these whole bowl of problems reduced in some way. Nobody cares.
Exactly. Actually, I think I remember that part of the speech from the series when I invited you as a speaker. I remember this.
It's like it's on loop, because I consistently talk about that. And I tell younger people, when you're trying to talk about something that you have provided solutions to someone, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it was an internship, how you approached it, the way you broke it down, the way you provided a solution in the end, because nobody cares about. And online today, you said PhD in business administration. I'm like, unless you're going to teach at a college, I don't think so. I don't think. But anyway, that's just my side in doing this. So the question I want to ask you, because we're running out of time here, what is the most important leadership lesson you've learned over the course of your career?
As I said in the beginning, or somewhere in the middle, I think that leaders have to lead by example. This is really important, and they have to motivate people around them to believe in the same ideas they believe in, and they have to love what they do and be passionate about it.
Okay.
I think these are the main leadership qualities that any leader should have.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about important influences in your life that's helped to shape you to become the leader you are today.
It's an interesting question, and I actually always keep saying that, but my mom doesn't believe it. I keep saying to other people that I was growing up and watching my mother trying to build herself as a businesswoman and try to build a business she was working in, and I was watching her communication style, how she speaks with clients, everything. And I liked so much, getting all that information. So she wasn't teaching me that. I was
Yeah.
looking at her and
Yeah.
I was getting
Absorbing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I keep saying that the primary influence was, of course, from my mother and from my dad. Because my mom is the type of person that usually used to say, just do it, think about it later.
Yeah.
Just go and do it, you can do it. And
Yeah.
my dad was saying, well, think about it well and then do it.
Yeah.
So
Conflict, right?
I'm kind of in the middle
Yeah.
of both of their opinions.
Yeah.
So primary, this managerial and leadership thing I grasped from her, and then analytical part I grasped from my dad.
Yeah.
And going next by myself, I was learning from people I was working with all the time. I had great leaders in youth organization I was volunteering at. They were so inspiring, so compassionate. I had amazing boss in the international company I worked for, which I'm super grateful for. Amazing staff.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so enlightening. And of course, the women empowerment platform that I was doing projects at, it affected my life so much, and it shaped me as a leader. And sometimes people, girls or boys, doesn't matter, they approach me, they come and say like, oh, Lamia, remember at that conference you said this and that and that. At that moment it was aha moment for me, and then I took my idea, or I don't know, like my dream somewhere, and I achieved this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's really great.
I'll take it. I don't remember, but I'll take it.
I didn't know I had that influence in me. I just, whenever I do what I love, I start shining from it. And so people kind of get it from a side, and they get inspired too. So probably that's also a leadership.
Well, I'll close it out saying this, is that we have no idea how many people watch what we do. We have no idea how much influence we have, that somebody's sitting on the sidelines and watching something. Someone watched a speech that you did or interaction that you did, and they still remember something, and they walk away thinking about that. And when I normally ask every guest that question about important influences, and the vast majority of time, it comes back from a family member. It comes back from a grandfather. It comes back from a mother or father or brother, older brother, or whatever it was. And I say that to say, we set examples in our everyday lives and the way that we react to things, and you never know who's watching.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's so true. Oh my God.
Yeah, you never know who's watching, and we'll pick that up, as a result. Because when I think of influences, I think about my mother and father. They were uneducated, but they were smart people. And I've often said, I've gone to college, undergrad, and I've gone to NYU, New York University. And I said, I learned more from my father about business than any of these business classes I've ever taken. Any of them. Because I go back to some things that he said. It resonates in doing that. Yeah, it's the same situation.
It resonated for me too, actually. When I always tell students that as well. Before you go and apply to master's degree, just get some practical experience, because that's where you actually will learn how to, manage yourself and the business.
Exactly.
And for the network purposes or any further knowledge purposes, you can apply for master's or PhD or whatever. and then do that with full confidence that you already have this background experience to reflect on. So it's all the way around.
All the way around. Thank you so much for I know your schedule is tight, for making the time to talk with us today, because it was important that I wanted to have you on. And as I told you before we went live, is that I knew you as you were growing up, and I knew the progression and all these kinds and we always kept in touch. And to see you at this stage now, it makes me feel good that to talk to you in this capacity, as you, because remember the reference point was down here, and now we're here.
Yeah, I know we're here. I'm so grateful to you for the invitation, for considering me for
because I know you had
I'm not CEO.
I know you said that. That doesn't matter. It's the conversation and the advice that you could give, because somebody's watching this and heard something you said, and you never know where they're going to take that forward. So thank you. Hold on for a second as we begin to close out. Just hold on. We're going to close out now.